Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Marilyn Darling Show, and welcome to another episode, the first episode of Calligraphy for Beginners. And today we are going to be learning a little bit about basic calligraphy. But first, we're going to share this with sharing this with Patreon so that they can come and hang out with us too. Create link, paste the link there. Public. Okay, so hopefully everyone will be able to see this now. Hi, Obs, how are you? Welcome in, welcome in. Just want to give everyone a second if they want to come and join the class. I gotta tell y'all right now, I have a wicked headache. So, this is gonna be a very educational class. For all of us, I'm sure. Well, so the first thing that we should probably talk about is what should you expect out of this class? Well, I'm gonna be talking about calligraphy terms. I'm gonna be showing you some tools. I'm going to be telling you about different techniques to improve your calligraphy. Calligraphy is different from handwriting, is different from hand lettering, it's different from broad-edged calligraphy. We will be doing some... Alexa, stop. We will be doing some monoline calligraphy. And then we will be... we're going to start out with some pencil calligraphy. And then we're going to go to a monoline calligraphy. And then maybe even a broad edge monoline calligraphy. And then we will be doing some flex writing calligraphy. And then at the end, we're going to be taking the tools that we have, or that we should have, and we're going to be building a little piece. And at the end of the week, I will be giving you guys a test, and if you pass the test, I will be gifting that person a Fountain Pen Revolution Himalaya version 2 with an Ultraflex nib of their choice. That's okay, I'll live. I think it might be the candle, but I love this candle. I don't care. It gives me a headache to death. So, this is going to be a very exciting class. What you should have is you should have some paper. I highly recommend getting a book, a regular composition book. If you haven't done so already, have your composition book. Label it, so that way you know that this is your first calligraphy book. Put calligraphy on it, and then put the date. And then we're going to open it up, and we're going to start. The first thing you're going to need is your paper, and you should have already printed out or found some way to get some guidelines. If you don't have a book and you prefer loose leaf paper, you should also have a clipboard with your guidelines affixated to the guidelines. like this. Now, what happens if you don't want to use a clipboard? What do I do with that? Oh. You take your guidelines and you put them behind the page that you want to do the calligraphy on, and you should be able to see the guidelines through the paper. You can see the guidelines through the paper. This will help dramatically speed things along. You should have a pencil or a pen or some sort of writing utensil. You can use a pencil, you can use a pen, you could use a ballpoint, you can use a Pilot Friction, which is also recommended. You can use a Sharpie or a ballpoint or whatever you have at your disposal. Use what you have right now with the paper that you're comfortable with. Won't bleed onto your guide sheets. So stay away from things like moleskin and mead, because if you use a Sharpie with moleskin or mead, it's going to bleed through, and then your guide sheet's going to be all wrecked. So just take that into consideration when you're thinking about using your paper. So for me, I am going to do my calligraphy on a clipboard, but all the terms and all of the things will apply same to the clipboard as they do to a book. So you could even use brush pens if you have brush pens. But I want to concentrate today on just a couple of different terms that you're going to need to know about pens. So here we have your basic pencil. Here's another pencil. Here's another pencil. And they all seem to have something in common. They have a little nose cone or a protector around the lead. I think they call this the sheath or the lead protector. And then it has the cone, which is called the lead. It leads the lead down to the end. And then you have the shaft or the body. Shaft and body. Shaft and body. And then you have the retracting. You either have it on the end and you press to click, or you have one on the side that you press to advance the lead. And I like to have one with a little grip on the edge of mine. So if yours doesn't have one, perhaps you can wrap a rubber band around it, or just so you can have something very secure to hang on to, so it's not going to slip out of your fingers. You want to have it just enough so that there's a little bit of texture. This one is already textured a little bit. This one is not textured, and it will slip out of your fingers if you just let go of it. And you could use a mini pencil if you have a mini pencil, but just make sure that it's not going to fall out when you take your thumb away from it. Okay. Your guide sheets should be 55 degrees. Let me see, what else am I missing? If you went to the Lacanche Lacoche a website. Languish website. You should have made some guidelines with 5mm lines. Every line is 5mm across, and the line should be diagonal at a 55-degree angle. And it should look like this. If you don't have guidelines, say that you have one of these mats, you can kind of see, so this is 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, and 90. So this would be a 45-degree angle, so somewhere between 60 and 45. So somewhere between 60 and 45 is about there-ish. And you can kind of tell diagonally that it goes almost from corner to corner at an 8 by 10. Now, one of the things that we're going to do when we start doing calligraphy is we're going to take our pages and we're going to turn them so they look like this. We're going to point the corners as far away from each other as possible. Okay, it would be the same with a book. If you had a book, you're going to take this is sitting right in front of you, open your book, you're going to take these corners and you're going to pull them as far away from each other from you as possible. Okay? When you bring your arm down, say from this line, this is going to be your 55-degree line. Okay? Okay. Paper. You should have at least a book's worth of paper. 80 to 100 sheets of paper. Because the class is going to go very quickly once we figure out all of the technical little bits of it. Paper, guidelines, pen, ink. So if you are using a fountain pen, that's fine. If you are using a monoline, which means only having one, if it's a fine, medium, or broad, not a 1.1, not a 1.5, that's a different type of calligraphy. We're not learning that today. If you have fine, medium, or broad, that's monoline calligraphy, and you can use that too. Well, the broader the better, I always say, because then you can really have some fun moving your hand about the page. Now, the reason they said that you're going to want a lot of paper is because we're going to go through a lot of paper. And the first part of the learning is understanding that the thought process behind learning. If someone tells you something, you're going to remember it about 5% about an hour from now. If you hear it and see it, you'll remember it about 25% an hour from now. If you learn it, you see it, you attempt it, then you're going to learn it about 50 to 60% an hour from now. But if you see it, hear it, attempt it, and teach it to somebody else, you're going to learn it about 90% an hour from now. Hi, Wumble Bumblebee, how are you? That's okay, we're just getting into it. Hi, Plan Your One Life. Oh, that's a very cute name. How are you doing today? Okay, so we have our paper. We have our guide sheets. and we have some sort of writing device. Today I'm going to go with pencil. You don't have to have anything fancy. We're just getting a good understanding of our device. So you're going to advance your lead, make sure that it's well out there so that it's not going to be too breakable, but just far enough out that you can see it. Okay? And then we're gonna scribble for a little bit. I want you to just kind of get an idea of how your pen works. If there's any way that it likes being directed, if there's any, I want you to be very familiar with your pen. I'm just going to scribble on the page a little bit and kind of get a very good idea. Just kind of doing figure 8 shapes and making some circles and trying to get an idea that how your pen is going to behave. You should, if you have a tripod grip, this would be easy, but if you have a quad grip, say like this, you may hold your pen a little differently. Of course, if you hold your pen like this, that's fine too. Just get really familiar with your pen. Okay? Take that paper, turn it over. Now you're going to take your paper and you're going to turn it about 50 degrees. And you're going to you're going to remember these rules. Up, up, light, and down hard. So, we're going to go up with a light touch and down with a hard touch. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Now, we're not making any in particular shapes or anything right now. I just want you to get familiar with your tool. If you're doing this with a monoline pen, you will actually be able to make your pen lighter, light, hard, light, hard, up, light, down, hard, up, down, up, down. You can even see that there's a very, very slight line variation. Even with a broad nib. Up, down, up, down. You will notice a very slight variation in your line width. And calligraphy is supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun, then stop what you're doing, put the pen down, go outside, sniff a flower, come back in and try again. At the end of today's lesson, we will be doing a little test to see your knowledge about what you have learned so far. So, pencil again, just kind of doing little circles, up, light, down, hard. And you don't have to do them very fast or slow. Right now, we're just getting to know our pen. Okay. Okay. And you see what happened there? I dug my nib into the end of the lead into the page, and it dug into the page. So maybe don't put too much pressure on your nib. Hi, Amy Alphabet. How are you? So we're just getting acquainted with how our pen works. Okay, we're going to put that, we're going to turn the page, or break out a new piece of paper. Turn you sideways so you can see what I'm writing. Well, see, when I'm writing, I look like this. My paper's with this thing digging into my belly. It's always digging into my belly. I swear, right here, I have a permanent bruise from this thing digging into my belly. Right there. That's exactly where it sits. And you don't want to kind of sit straight onto your table. You want to make sure that your let's see, how can I put this? When you're setting at your table, you should be above, your elbows should be above the table so that you can swing your arms freely and so that your elbows don't hit the table. And you want to be sitting somewhat in the upright direction. Don't be leaning on your table. Try to sit in an upward direction. And I'm going to show you my foot. So when I'm sitting, this is how my foot is. I'm kind of leaning it up against the chair, so I have something stable, to keep my foot on. So you want to keep your foot stable, and then put your other foot, kind of so it's comfortable. Just so you can balance yourself, push a little bit on there, so that way you can feel stable in your chair, so that way you're not going to fall out. Because when we get into a little bit of movement writing, your whole body is going to be into it. Okay? So that's why I want you to be stable in your chair, so that way when you're moving about in your chair, you're not like twisting your chair, you're moving your hand and not the chair. Cool? Let's see. So you want to make sure that elbows aren't hitting your table. You want to make sure that you have room on your table, so that way you're not like hitting anything. Nothing isn't going to be in your way. You have free range to move if I didn't have my book here, I'd just, this would be my writing ability space. And I don't necessarily recommend that people use a board or anything when they're writing. They should have it on a flat surface so that you know that your paper's not going to move. So something that is a little sturdy is leather. I know some people aren't into leather, but if you have a very stable surface that you know that you can still move your board around, but that it's not going anywhere, then that's also very helpful. My table is in the spare room on the cooker Arles, and I'm making dinner. Oh, very good. Ring. Spare ring on the cooker Arles. Alright. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. For those of you who know how to cursive, raise your hand. You're all raising your hand, right? Everybody knows how to cursive? So cursive is written usually at a 50-degree angle. It's very steep and it's very fast and flowy. So this is cursive. You notice that I didn't pick my pen up. Not even once. Cursive is usually done very small and very fast. Small and very fast. We're not doing that. We're not learning cursive today. Nope, sorry. We are learning calligraphy, and calligraphy takes a little bit of skill. So let's learn some terms. Alright, terms. Where's my sheet? Cheat sheet. Okay. X height. So this is your line. Scooch way in here so we can see. This is your line. We're gonna blow this up, and we're gonna pretend that there is a halfway point, which is called the X height. It should be half of the whole height. And then even in between here we have 3/4 height and 1/4 heights. Now, if we blew that up, that would look like this is the X height. There's our 1/4 height, X height, 1/4 height, ascending. This would be the first ascending and the second ascending, or the first ascending and the second ascending. So, terms. X height. H-E-I-G-H-T, yes, height. This is X height. We're going to use this as our X height, okay? So that you guys can actually see what I'm writing. Then there's going to be the upstroke. Okay. The hard downstroke. I'm going to twist my camera so you can see what I'm doing over here. I might not do that great of a job, and I apologize. Hard downstroke. And then we're going to talk about the overturn. The underturn. The compound curve. The ascending stem loop. Ascending stem loop, and then the descending stem loop. So we're going to say that here is our X height, because this is our X height, X height, X height, X height, X height. And we're going to see that this is our descending stem loop. And then the last basic calligraphy stroke is the oval. Up, down, over, compound, left, right, oval. Okay, so these are all of the basic strokes that you're going to need to start your minuscule calligraphy. Okay, we're going to go back up here. We're going to write minuscule. Minuscule. Okay. Let's draw a line. And we're gonna turn the page. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be learning is the medium basic strokes. There are the basic strokes, the medium basic strokes, and then the hard strokes. So here's our X height. Mark off your X height. And then we're going to do the K stroke. Looks very weird. K stroke. Mark off your X height. Let's see, do X height. We're going to do the C stroke. Drop 2 down, mark off your X height. We're going to do the E stroke. We're going to do the reverse descending stem loop. We're going to drop 2 down from that bottom. We're going to do the R stroke. We're going to drop 2 down. We're going to do the S stroke. Hi, Butterbean Head. How are you? Okay. 2 more. I'm going to do the modified overturn. And the modified underturn. I'm sorry, modified descending stem loop. Oops, sorry. Whew, that is a lot. Okay, I need a little potty break, so I would encourage you at this time to have a little potty break, and I will be back in just 2 seconds. Have a look at these, and I will be right back. 2 shakes. I'm back. I'm so sorry about that. Taco Bell is the real deal, you guys. I'm just saying. Whew. Right. Well, we have done a little bit of education here on all of the different medium strokes. Right? Okay, so let's draw a little line underneath that. And we're going to call these the hard strokes. Okay. We're going to call this the half compound curve. We're going to call this the double underturn. We're going to call this the double overturn. Call this the reverse compound curve. Did we do the reverse compound curve already? Compound curve. No. Reverse oops. All of these will make sense once we get into making words. Okay, and then we're going to do this. We're going to make the L to Y. L to Y stroke. Okay. And then we will do the R to Y. R to Y. Stroke. Alright, let's turn the page. Am I moving too fast? If I'm moving too fast, say something. We're going to use all of these things later. But for now, it's just good to write them all out and to get them written down, so that way you can kind of recollect them as we go along. And then we're going to do the connecting stroke. It's kind of like a miniature underturn, but it doesn't go down to the baseline. It starts in the middle of the X height, which is bonkers. But we will get into all of it. My head hurts so bad right now. Ugh. How long have I been going? Okay, 40 minutes. We still have some time. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to write is we're going to start writing some words. Using our newfound knowledge of the strokes. So we're going to take every word that starts with a lowercase letter, like and or it or any word that starts with a lowercase letter. You always want to start with an upstroke. So you want to start with an upstroke. And how do you determine where to make this? So this is your ascending stem loop. I'm sorry, this is your ascending line, your X height, and this is your 55-degree slant. This is your baseline. Second ascender. First ascender. X height and quarter height. A lot to bring in, and these are parallelograms. Each one of these are a parallelogram. Which means that they have two sides that come down on the same angle, but it's not a square or a rectangle because the lines are not at a 90-degree angle. So they're slanted the same, but they're off kilter. So that makes it a parallelogram. And you want to come in from the bottom corner of the baseline and curve not straight up. You want to curve just under that space to the top of the X height. So it would look like, let's see, this is our X height, and we're going to go from this corner, try and come in it from a different angle so you guys can see, okay? So we're going to come at it, we're going to come from this corner here, and we're going to swoop up to this corner here, okay? Oops, sorry, wrong button. So when you're looking at your lines, you should come like this. So we can practice just a whole line of upstrokes. You should be just slightly curved from the baseline to the X height. Not a straight line, no. Okay? You want to make sure, and not too curvy. You're just a little swooping curve. So, nice swooping curve up to the X height. And you're going to make some bad ones. And that's okay. That one was kind of a straight line. Curve, just a nice swoopy line. Okay, just do a whole line of those. And that goes for all the other ones too. We'll do a whole line of overturns. Overturns. We're going to come from the baseline up on the 55-degree angle. We're going to curve in. We're going to touch the X height. We're going to curve down, and we're going to touch the baseline. So there should be 3 points. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to come up, hit that first quarter, start to curve up, hit the X height, curve down, hit that first quarter, and then make it all the way back down to the baseline. So, should look like that. And just do a whole line of those. And if you're using 5mm spacing with your guidelines, then this will be perfect for your spacing, because you want your X height to be half the size of your ascending, your second ascending. And I have to go because my headache is getting out of control, and I may need to seek medical attention. So I will be back hopefully tomorrow with more talk about calligraphy. Practice the basic strokes on your own, and I will be back tomorrow. So that's all I've got for right now. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I hope that you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell. Make sure it's set to all so when I upload new content, YouTube notifies you, and I will be back very soon with another video. So, take care until then. And thank you all for coming. Have a great day. Okay, love you, bye.